Hello, my name is Ashton,
My name is Johnny.
and this is our show where we are just going to talk about all of our interests.
Yep. The first thing we're going to talk about is our top three movies, comics, and TV shows. Just to get us, just so we can get to know each other and have the audience know us as well.
Yeah. And before we do that, I actually have a little present for the first episode we're doing.
Yeah. It's unexpected, actually. He showed up to the house. I had no idea. So this isn't a clickbait title.
Hope you don't have this comic.
No, I don't. I don't have many Superman ones. Which one is this?
Yeah, that is issue number 78, which is right after the death of Superman.
Yeah.
He had 4 titles at that time, and
Yeah.
4 different quote-unquote Superman took them over. This is Cyborg Superman. This is the one he had.
Okay. All right. So this is.
And that's a variant cover too.
Yeah, I know. So the story on this comic actually is interesting because I think I read or heard on a video or something that they didn't know what Superman they wanted to bring back. They didn't know whether they wanted to bring back the original Superman or have it be like one person had the idea of a cyborg, the other Superboy, the other Steel, and then they were like, "Fuck it, just put it all together," you know?
Yeah, I did kind of like that where it was. I mean, obviously I know because I'm in the future,
yeah.
but I knew that none of them were the
In
real
hindsight.
Superman.
Yeah.
But it was really cool just seeing there were little nods that each of them could be the resurrected Superman, and that was just really fun to see.
Yeah, the history I have with this is the animated movie. You know, they did the Death of Superman and then the Reign of Superman, I think this is the one that did the New 52.
Yeah, the DC AMU.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those movies weren't great, but
no,
that
honestly,
was actually pretty good.
Those two actually were a good combo. I just wish there were more Superman movies. It's mostly all just Batman movies and then Justice League, whatever. Because Batman's the best character, right?
Yeah.
5 movies with that guy.
It's funny that movie, and I really don't like those movies because they're based on the New 52, which I don't like, but that movie did the Justice League more justice, funnily enough, than they were done back in the 90s. Like, back in the 90s, they were like one hit and they were down from Doomsday. But in that movie, they actually got to get a couple hits in, and it actually seemed cooler.
That's interesting, because it's another one of those hindsight things where it's like, okay, in hindsight, they didn't really do anything in the comics, so let's give them a little bit more to do, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Should I start with my movies?
Yeah, go ahead. All
right. My top 3 favorite movies, and I don't know if this was the same for you, but it was very difficult for me to narrow.
It was extremely difficult, yes.
Yeah, my favorite comic was probably the easiest, and then TV show was a little bit difficult, but then the movies were difficult as hell. So my top 3 are Nope by Jordan Peele.
Okay.
Eighth Grade by Bo Burnham. Okay. And The Batman by Matt Reeves.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sick.
What do you think about? Have you seen all 3 of those?
I've only seen The Batman because I'm a uncultured moron. But
man, yeah, Nope.
Talk to me about these movies though.
Yeah. Nope is like an alien movie. It starts out as a horror because they don't know what it is, but then once they find out what it is, it becomes an adventure movie because now they're trying to stop it, and the whole movie it's kind of like fear of the unknown, and then once it's known, you're not really afraid of it anymore.
Okay.
And that was just, man, yeah, I've seen that movie probably 10 times.
Damn.
Half of them in the theater too.
Yeah.
I just kept going back. And then Eighth Grade. Do you know who Bo Burnham is?
I've heard of the name, but I know the movie Eighth Grade. I know of the movie as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, he's a comedian. He started on YouTube, and then he did a couple of Netflix specials.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sounds more familiar now.
Yeah, he took a break from comedy because he was getting panic attacks from the pressure and everything. So then he decided to. He didn't just direct this movie; he also wrote it, and he cast this 13-year-old girl that she herself was also a YouTuber. And they just crafted this film kind of together, and I just think it was really cool. I've seen this movie also probably 5 times.
Nice.
I watched it with my mom too, and it just it's great.
That's good. That's cool.
Yeah,
I like when they start out it's a movie that starts from humble beginnings, kind of.
Yeah.
And then eventually turns into something the upper echelon sort of. So that's cool.
And it's the quickest one too. It's an hour and a half, while Nope is like just over 2 hours, and The Batman is almost 3 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
Cool. Is it a comedy?
Yeah, it's a comedy. It's also a drama. It's just about a teenage girl trying to figure out who she wants to be. I mean, it's the end of 8th grade, post spring break, but like right before summer. Okay. She's like scared about going into high school. She has no real friends. She just really, it hit close to home real hard. Like throughout the movie, she's like, I'm funny. And I'm like, oh, that's me.
Hyping yourself up in the mirror before work and like, dude, I'm funny. I'm going to talk to the shit out of all these customers, and then I don't say anything to anyone.
But because she's so afraid of being rejected, and like that's kind of what she finds throughout the movie. It's like you can't, you can't make friends without making enemies, and she just was so afraid of making enemies, and then she was like, I don't care what people think. I'm just gonna be me. Yeah, that was just a great movie.
That's cool. That makes me want to watch it now because I feel like everyone goes through that same headspace at some point in time. So,
and it's the best use of social media in a movie that I've seen because, like I said, like Bo listened to the 13-year-old and like took input about how it's really like.
Yeah.
So
and he's, from the sounds of it, also had some experience with it a little bit because of he's a comedian and whatnot.
Yeah, he was on YouTube in 2007 or 2008 or something.
He's had a lot of them.
Yeah, he has a lot of respect for that space. So it didn't feel like demeaning or anything.
Yeah, it didn't feel like, hey, when YouTubers say weird cringe shit and they do the joke of like the streamer being overweight and none of that potato chip eating bullshit that they have in like
how do you do, fellow kids?
Yeah. Okay. And then your last one's Batman.
I mean, do we need to talk?
We don't really need to talk about the Batman, but I kind of want to talk about the Batman because the Batman is easily the best Batman movie in my opinion.
It is definitely the best Batman movie. I don't know if it's the best Riddler. I mean, I know that's a hot take. I know that's a hot take.
I honestly, I really like Jim Carrey's Riddler, and I know some people hate that guy, and I know why they do, but he kind of feels like the Arkham Riddler a little bit more. When I think of Riddler, I think of the Arkham one. And then I also go to Jim Carrey because I'm like, he sounds very like he can do the riddle me this thing really well,
I think maybe in a different movie and with different direction, because obviously in those movies they were just turning up the camp, making it more cringier and cringier.
Yeah.
And if they took it seriously, I feel like Jim Carrey could have really killed it.
I feel like that entire movie could have actually. And this is like a completely different conversation, but like I think that entire movie, if they had, like you said, a better direction on where they wanted to take Batman, there were a lot of cool things. And like,
I mean, Bat credit cards. Do we like Bat?
Well, so that was Batman and Robin, though. I'm talking about Forever. So with Forever,
I lump those in.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to because Forever is extremely forgettable.
Yeah.
Compared to because it's lumped between the absolute worst one and then the last Michael Keaton one.
Yeah.
So I feel like people tend to forget that.
And just like the nipples on the suit and like whenever they were switching into their costumes, all the close up zoom in shots of their junk and their asses. It was just weird.
It's I mean extremely he certainly had a vision.
Yeah.
I'll give him that. I'll give him that.
But honestly I feel like my favorite Riddler is from it's also called The Batman, but it's the 2004 animated show.
Okay.
In that one, they kind of made him like a dark, sadistic
serial killer.
Yeah.
Sort of. Well, it's a kid's show, so I don't know if they did any of that.
But I mean, it was implied.
Okay.
And that's probably, a lot of those versions of the characters is my favorite. That show, like in terms of art,
really good.
Yeah, like the designs of them, and then the voice acting. Yeah. Like, you ever seen American Dad?
Parts of it, yeah.
Do you know the principal?
I think so. Yeah.
He voices the Joker in that.
Yeah. He's a really good Joker, actually. Yeah. We had the first 3 episodes of that show on DVD back when I was a kid, and then the Batman versus Dracula movie.
Yes, I had that too.
That movie's. I rewatched it. It's like, it's pretty cool.
It is.
It's really kind of it's a silly concept because like you got Batman, who's very similar to Dracula in his appearance and all that, and then the actual Dracula he's fighting.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like a Scooby-Doo, like, but it's really good.
I don't like that because of the Bat embargo, they couldn't have Robin until like the second to last season.
Yeah.
Because the Teen Titans show is happening. So that's the only thing that kind of drags it down for me. But I think we're getting a little off topic.
Yes.
Your top 3 movies.
My top 3 movies. So my first one is a little movie. I don't have my phone's in my pocket. It's a movie called The Graduate. Have you seen this film?
I have not.
Okay. It stars...
What year did it come out?
1967, I believe. I think 67.
Okay.
So let me set the scenery of me first watching this movie. I had never heard of this movie, but there's a lot of iconic imagery and scenes and stuff that people know about in pop culture that comes from this movie, like the Hello Darkness, My Old Friend. That's where this comes from.
Wow.
Is this movie. That song. That's where I think they made it. Point being, I watched it in one of my college classes for the first time, and it's about a college graduate who, the second he gets out of college, he gets home, and he has no idea what to do with his life at all. So he's just sitting at his house, where it's like a family party where they bring together all their different neighbors and whatnot, celebrating his graduation. But he feels lost because he doesn't know what he wants to do. And then he takes home his like one of his parents' friends' mom, like a mom or something, and she starts to seduce him, and it's really, it makes you really uncomfortable because you know where it's going and he knows where it's going, but his performance and like I just think it's so well written and performed. Like Dustin Hoffman is really good.
I know that name.
Yeah. And then he eventually starts to fall for her daughter, though, because she obviously no one else knows about the affair except them two. And then a date is set up with the daughter, between him and the daughter, and he actually starts falling for her. And so it's this really extremely awkward situation where it's like, oh, I'm falling for you, but I'm also having an affair with your mother. So it's extremely awkward, but in like the best way, because it's an odd concept. Now it's not really odd, but it's one that you would be like, I don't know about this when watching it, but when it's really good. I don't know.
Is it better like on a rewatch? Like the first time you see it, you're a little like, I don't know, but then on rewatches, because you know where it's going.
I think it would be, because if I have seen it the one time, but I do want to like watch it again. But you start to settle in pretty early on. You kind of know where it's going when he starts like, oh my god, like this, I don't know what to do about this, and it's just you know where it's going after that, and you kind of feel like, okay, I can settle down now.
All right.
So it's a good movie. I really liked it, and it's well shot, well acted, well directed. Also, the ending is really good.
Is it like a twist?
No, do you know the ending of him and the girl get in the back of the bus?
Yeah.
It's that ending where they're like, okay, we got out of here.
And so is that the daughter?
That's the daughter, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've seen a clip of that, and
yeah.
I think it's because the actors were just like, oh, the scene's over, and so they just dropped their faces. But then the director
never cut it. Yeah.
Yeah. I love stuff like that.
I do too. It's like accidental filmmaking almost.
Yeah, stuff like that's really cool.
It is.
You can't plan everything,
Yeah, but that's also the best parts of certain movies are the unplanned bits sometimes. So, second one, you're gonna probably know what the next two are off the rip. Across the Spider-Verse.
Okay. Yeah.
The reason I like this better than Into the Spider-Verse is simply just when it came out. You know how, like, with certain movies, you'll associate the emotions surrounding that movie? Like, what you were feeling at the time and all that stuff. So, I can think back to Spider-Verse, the first one, when I first saw that, and Endgame, when I first saw those. Like, where I was, what I was doing. And they're instantly more special to me, even though those movies aren't maybe necessarily... Endgame especially isn't as well crafted as Spider-Verse, I'll say that. But this is one of those movies where I just associate when I saw it kind of with the movie itself. Everything in the movie is just like extremely, like, from the opening scene. I think it's just, I love art
Yeah,
a lot.
it's definitely it's a lot more, I'll say, beautiful than the first one.
For sure.
Yeah.
Gwen Stacy, I'm so, like, I love the concept of, we're doing the Spider-Verse. That could be so tired and so boring, but they take, like, okay, we're gonna make it a different art style for every single universe. So, like, Miles's is the one that was in Into the Spider-Verse, obviously, but Gwen's is like this splash color palette painting.
The like watercolors.
The watercolor paintings, and
I love
it's
that.
so cool because
that shot where it's like her dad standing there.
Yeah.
And then she like runs to him, and like as she's moving, the entire background changes
due to the emotion. It's really, I think that's what got me with this one. It just felt like the last movie, but like let's applaud the artists a little more on this one, because look at what they made. Like this, it was just really cool.
Yeah.
That, and I was there. I watched it the day before it came out. Somehow.
Oh, like the Thursday previews?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I watched it with a packed audience that would not shut up. Sometimes there were some kids in there I was so mad during certain scenes. And then I watched it a second time in theaters, which I don't often do, just because I see it once and I'm like, okay, I'll wait for it to come out and just watch it then. But I saw this one twice because I was in Texas, and it was the complete opposite with a different audience. There was like no one in the theater. It was just like me, Sam, and then two other people. Sam's my brother. And then probably two other people.
Man, I don't know, because I don't like it when it's super packed, but I also don't like it when
it's completely
empty.
Quiet. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's kind of, I mean, part of watching a movie in a movie theater is the audience.
Yes.
It's like watching a play and you're the only one there, you know?
Yeah, it would be really, it's like I'm the director of the play. It's like all this pressure, like, fuck.
What do you think about all the changes that Across the Spider-Verse had? Because
the retcons?
Not really the retcons, more of like a week of it being in theaters. There was a
okay, I see what you're saying.
I only saw it. I saw the original version the first day in theaters, so I would need to rewatch it to see all the differences. But
the hard part with the changes is I'm more concerned that, like, apparently, like, we all know this movie had like a huge crunch to get it out.
I mean, Beyond the Spider-Verse was already supposed to come out.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out this year, which, like, I don't even want to think about what that would have been like for those people. Like, damn. But I'm more concerned about the fact that, like, okay, I made the scene. I have to remake the scene a couple different times because there were different versions of the movie that came out where they, like, fucked with the lighting or changed how characters looked or something like that. And I'm more concerned on an artist level how, like, I think this movie feels like it applauds artists in many ways, but in many other ways it still suffered from the Hollywood doesn't give a fuck about artists because they crunch these people, and then they also, like, this scene is reused two different times completely differently, and so you have to think, like, how hard that is to animate, because you have to animate the scene exactly the same but change, like, drastic enough things where it starts to become an issue.
Yeah, I really didn't understand. I mean, they could have just, I guess they couldn't have, because they have deals with advertisers and all that, but I wish they would have given themselves, I'd rather they put the release date like super ahead in the future and then be able to be like, oh, we finished early, let's move it up, rather than have to delay it. Like, you know, New Mutants?
Yes.
That got, that movie got delayed like 5 times. And it's just like
crazy.
Don't set a release date you don't think you can handle.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now, me personally, I like Into the Spider-Verse more than Across.
And this is the hard part because I would agree with you on Normal Circumstances because it's a smaller movie and it doesn't have like the cameo BS that I hate in so many other movies that they just overuse that. But
yeah, it's like they saw Endgame and they were like, we need to do that.
yeah. But to me, like when I was watching it, it never felt disingenuous. Any of the cameos, I think you can fall into that with Endgame or less so Endgame, but more like the stuff after Endgame with like No Way Home or Multiverse of Madness, where okay, now we're just throwing in Reed Richards into this movie.
Oh yeah.
For no reason.
Multiverse of Madness was not great.
We're not gonna talk about this, but I do like that movie. But I don't like that part. I don't like those cameos. I think those cameos suck, which is why I'm glad they were all murdered.
Yeah.
Because I didn't like that. And then my last movie is Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
I do like that movie.
This movie, it's the one on the list I've rewatched the most times, which isn't so like a lot of times because I just recently watched it, like pretty recently. But I remember when I was first watching it, I'm like, holy shit, like, why have I never heard of this movie now? Until now. Like, what the fuck? This is this movie's perfect.
And did it, I don't think it really did that well at the box office, did it?
No, I don't think it did.
Yeah, that always kind of breaks my heart a little bit when really well-made movies do really poorly at the box office.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Yeah. For one of our segments, we are going to talk about a movie that is really good, but bombed.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, but have you seen the show Scott Pilgrim?
So the hard part with that was when it came out, they released all the episodes, so hype died extremely quickly.
Yeah, I kind of don't like that they do that.
Yeah. It's one of those, like, I hate with the Marvel shows where it's like they basically turn live action movies into shows.
Yeah, they're not even shows.
Yeah, even those, they'll extend the episodes, though. And just, like, we'll have it released weekly. I don't like, for that model of storytelling, I don't like. For, like, Scott Pilgrim, what it was doing, that for sure was like, okay, let's release these every week instead of let's just release the entire thing.
Or not even that. Honestly, I don't know why they didn't learn from what they did with Stranger Things, where they just break the season up and release like one batch, at one time, and then like 2-3 weeks later release the other batch.
Yeah, I think the hard part is it can kill the hype still, like with Invincible, because I was waiting for the entire thing to come out.
Well, I'm talking about a couple weeks. I'm not talking about months. That Invincible wait was killer.
Horrible.
If I wasn't already a fan of the comic before the show started, I might have dropped it.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
I don't know, because the animation in season 2 dipped so hard. So I don't know if I would have kept on.
Yeah. With shows that I'm not like super interested in, like Invincible, I kind of just wait for them to fully come out so I can I'm just gonna watch all of it. I don't know why. That's how I watch my shows.
I mean, I've tried to do that before. I kind of forget. Like keeping up week by week, it stays in my memory. It stays fresh.
Yeah. I think the hard part with me is I'm like scared to do that with shows because some shows come out and they start off really good and then they'll just completely.
Like The Flash. I mean, granted, The Flash was never a great show.
Yeah.
But season 1 was definitely the best out of the whole show.
Yes. The most
maybe
flashy, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, that movie just, if you haven't seen it, like,
definitely watch it.
Wonderful. Absolutely. Like, if you like anime, it's the perfect, like, I hate live action when they try to do like live action cartoons or anime. It's the perfect balance, though.
Well, the reason is because when they do those live action versions, they're like, oh, well, anime is, a joke. Like, we got to make it real. We have to make sure that it's good enough for the main audience. And it's like, it's already good enough. Just translate it. Like,
exactly.
Did you watch the Death Note movie? Came out in 2017?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's the thing that I'm talking about.
Ooh.
Like, why they changed so much of the story that it's barely even Death Note.
It might as well be a shitty Netflix, like, because it already feels like a Netflix movie.
It is.
I know, exactly, yeah. It came out on Netflix, and it feels like all the Netflix tropes, so, like, why dumpster fire this other franchise that people like?
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
it really pissed me off because I was a
I'm
huge
sure it
Death
did.
Note fan before
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And honestly, I haven't rewatched the anime since. Like, I loved it, and then I watched that movie. I don't like Death Note anymore. That's so
Dude,
funny.
I hate that. I hate that so
The
much.
only saving grace was Willem Dafoe as Ryuk,
Yes.
the demon.
Yeah. He's obviously Willem Dafoe's like one of the best actors to grace the planet, but like
Got a huge dick too.
yeah, I heard about that. It's
If you guys don't know, Willem Dafoe did a nudity scene in the Antichrist.
yes, I
And
believe.
His dick was so big that they had to use a stunt double for the shot of his penis because they thought that it would be too distracting to the audience. Like, you'd be watching the movie and be like, "Oh my god, yeah. He's naked. He's damn."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, hey,
You definitely have a lot of. You probably get a bigger audience, honestly, of people who watch it and are like, "Wow, they weren't lying about that." Yeah.
yeah.
But
it's hilarious.
yeah.
But yeah, Willem Dafoe, he's great in
Yeah.
like everything that he does.
Especially vocally, man. He's just like he's got that perfect like raspy voice.
Like like in the lighthouse when he's going on that monologue.
And he says Fortnite. You know?
Yeah. But and just when he says hark, like hark.
Yeah.
His voice, the gravel of it, I don't know.
It's just it's I don't know. He's just like he was born to be
an actor.
Well, that and a voice actor especially, yeah. But
I would love to see him voice act more often.
and more shit, yeah.
I feel like he might be a bit of a too high profile actor.
You need to have the right director, I think. Because I think that's another thing Spider-Verse does is it takes all these high profile actors and they make them all work, which is really unprecedented because a lot of voice animated shit you'll have like, oh, the DC Super Pets had Dwayne Johnson.
Oh my god, Dwayne Johnson.
And Kevin Hart, and look at that, and it never works because it's just high profile actors for the poster.
Voice
act.
Yeah, voice acting and screen acting are two very different
Very
things.
different, yeah. And people don't respect that enough sometimes. The studios don't, I should say.
Yeah. But all right, so my favorite shows, I have Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Psych, and Archer. Have you seen any of those?
I've seen episodes of quite a few of those, yes.
Yeah, all right. So Always Sunny is set in Philadelphia. It's about a group of friends that call themselves the Gang.
Yeah.
It's got Danny DeVito in it, and they are just bad people doing bad things and facing.
It is wonderful. Like it is so
And they just face the consequences of their actions. You know, I feel it wouldn't be as funny if they were bad people doing bad things and then they win in the end. But the fact that they always lose, it feels good to be able to like them doing bad things because you know it's like they're not going to get away with it.
No, yeah, because it doesn't glorify it as like, look at this, they're doing bad shit.
It actually does the opposite because they get in trouble for their actions. The show is reinforcing that no, these are bad things. Like when the characters are racist, they get called out for it. They get beat up for it because, you know, being racist is not great.
Yeah, it's not a good thing. Some people don't know that.
Hot take.
Well, it would be a hot take with some of these people walking around, you know.
Yeah, but it's so funny. It's been on the air since 2005. It has the record for the longest running live action comedy sitcom or show or whatever of all time, and I think that's great. Season 17 is coming out either
Damn, it's
later.
still going?
Yeah. They're renewed for season 18 too. They got renewed for
You know what? If it's like, you know, with like South Park, well, if they just keep making fun of the current events, it'll probably never die. Cuz so much current shit happens and it's all so stupid that if you just it'll stay relevant like forever.
But Always Sunny Always Sunny doesn't even really do that. They just come up with good episodes. They're not even like like, because yeah, South Park is just like, oh, we ran out of ideas. Oh, this in the news. We'll make a funny thing about it.
Okay.
But Always Sunny is just, oh, I'm sorry. Do you like South Park? I don't mean to.
No, I mean, honestly, you're entitled to your opinion. I like South Park, but
Yeah.
I don't. I can only stomach so many episodes. I can't, like, Sam, my brother, is able to watch so many of, like, he'll just binge it. I can't do that, especially with South Park, because there are some trash episodes. Like, I'll be honest, like. They did a Britney Spears one.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, speaking honestly kind of off that point, my next show, Psych, is from 2006.
I think my mom used to watch this show a lot, and I would tune in occasionally.
It's great. It holds up because of the fact that they don't like similar shows back then, like, I was almost going to say Always Sunny. Hell no.
Yeah.
Like Friends or that 70s show. Like, a lot of their humor is kind of like they make, gay and trans jokes and black jokes, and it's just like they age terribly because it's like, okay, you're punching down. It's not really that funny.
Yeah.
But Psych is a lot of absurdist humor. And so it's like there is no aging to be had. Like, it's still absurdist 20 years later.
Because it doesn't go after, especially, like, it's hard with political humor. The other thing is, like, when it's aged out, and then, like you said, you look back at it now and you watch it and you're like, you definitely could not make that now. And it's not really as funny now. So that can be another hard part with it, though.
But Psych, what that show's about is it's a very, very, very loose adaptation of Sherlock Holmes. He is a consultant it's based in Santa Barbara, California.
Gotcha.
He's a consultant for the SBPD, like Sherlock. He has his friend Watson, who is called Gus in this show, and instead of a doctor, he's a pharmaceutical salesman. He is still really smart, and he still has, like, great observational skills.
Okay.
But instead of just being like Sherlock and being like, oh, I noticed that thing over there, what he'll do is he'll notice that thing over there, won't tell anybody, and then the next day be like, I am having a vision of a thing over there. And it's like, it's just, and that's part of the thing that's really funny is because a lot of his, visions, quote unquote, they would just let the actor, James Roday Rodriguez, like, improv. And so he would just go crazy, be all wild. Like, he was a great physical actor because he would, like, roll downstairs and flail around because he's being consumed by the spirits. And so that's part of the thing that was so funny. The only thing that I would say I don't really like about the show is there's only one character of color, Gus. He's black, and a lot of jokes about his skin color, I'm just like, oh, I'm not really, like, they'll be like, oh, Gus, insert black joke here. And it's like, okay, he's the only black character here.
You could shoot higher, honestly.
And Gus is one of my favorite characters because, like, he is just one of the best side characters, I would say, of all time in terms of TV.
My bad. Interesting. Okay.
Just like he has his own episodes where Sean will be, locked away somewhere, or will be just, in a hospital bed. And so it's just Gus taking the lead. And he gets a lot of character development. We learn about his family and his interests and stuff like that. And just, I love it.
Cool.
But yeah, and then the last one, Archer. Have you ever heard of that?
Yes. My brother fucking loves that shit. Well, he did at one point. His alarm is, I think, his phone alarm. Have you heard the mulatto boy? What? Have you heard that?
No.
Dude, it is so annoying because I'll be sleeping and I'll wake up because his fucking alarm will go off and it'll be like, mulatto butts, mulatto butts.
Oh,
that fucking shit, dude. I wake up to it like that, and he has a South Park alarm as well. And it got so bad to the point where my dad was like, you need to fucking change those, like, because it's so annoying. And he doesn't wake up to them, so I don't know.
Yeah, Archer is about this secret agent working at an agency, unfortunately called ISIS.
Yeah.
Kind of funny.
Didn't they have to change that or something? Because they were like, fuck.
Well, they did something in the show that made sense. Like, they didn't just change the name. And that's one thing that I really love about the show is that it's not just the same thing over and over. Like, I would say the first 4 seasons are all, the setting is the exact same. But then season 5 on, it's like every season there's a new, like, gimmick for that season.
Yeah.
And even, like, later on to switch things up, like, they have 3 whole seasons that none of it actually happened. They were all just imaginary in his head because something happened to him where he went into a coma. And so he was in a coma for 3 years. So the next 3 seasons, they have one where he's in space on a spaceship. He's on like an island with like pirates and a talking parrot. Mm-hmm. And then another one that's like set in the 1950s, like a mobster type movie. And
interesting.
And that show just kept reinventing itself. It's over now. It ended last year.
Damn.
But yeah,
still
it
went far though.
Yeah. Funnily enough, it's got the same guy that did Bob's Burgers, H. John Benjamin.
That's cool.
In one episode, he like is amnesic. He has amnesia, and he has a wife called Linda, and he opens a burger joint.
That's
and
fucking hilarious.
And then they have to be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's like, "No, my name is Bob. Who's Archer?" And like they do a Bob's Burgers
That's awesome.
bit. That show is really great.
That's cool. All right. Well, with mine, honestly, I was scared of putting South Park on here because I had no idea what your picks were, and I was like, I don't know if I should shoot higher or not. So I've put a couple down that are completely different. Oh fuck, it's not on here. My bad. They're completely different. It's like a completely different style. So the first one I have is Daredevil.
The Netflix show.
The Netflix show. So this show is everything I want from street level Marvel that we don't get anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and isn't it that first episode that there's that hallway scene?
It's the second episode.
It's the second. Yeah, that early in the show to be like, this is what you're going to get.
Like, look at this. Because one of the first set photos that released was his suit, and people were like, what the fuck is this? Because it's just the black suit from
I wouldn't even call it a
run.
suit. It's just like a black bandana and a black shirt.
Yeah, so I think it had a lot to prove is what I'm saying.
And that's why I don't really like looking at set photos. Because it's taken out of context.
It's hard. It's so hard now because they're all over the place all the time.
I mean, Sabretooth being in Deadpool and Wolverine got spoiled with the 20th Century Fox logo and all that. And then
there's like a Fantastic Four car, and it's like, what? Okay, what?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's like I would have just loved to have seen that maybe in the trailers.
We'll get whole suit reveals now. Like the Wolverine suit was spoiled because of a set photo that leaked.
Yeah, and so they have
leaked.
to.
I guarantee you it didn't leak. Marvel was just like, here you go.
And I feel like that's why they released the Superman suit, because they're like, we're about to start filming outdoors, and we'd rather do this, but then have it be a set photo. It's a major problem.
But it's strange that like whole Twitter set like leaks and whatnot can basically market your film now, because that's the entirety of No Way Home. How that released and whatnot was just dumpster fire.
I'm surprised they kept it a secret for as long as they did, though. Andrew and Toby.
They could have done a way worse job.
Yeah,
I will say that. But yeah, they definitely like people were. I was on there when that was like No Way Home speculation was at an all-time high. People were fucking analyzing you. People went to the lengths of like, okay, Andrew Garfield ordered Uber Eats near where they were filming No Way Home.
I saw that. Yeah.
And it's like, holy, like, how the fuck did you even find that? Like, what do you mean? How did you? I don't know.
Yeah, the thing that got me, because I didn't think it would happen. I was like, there's no way. But the thing that I was like, fuck, it might actually happen, was it was a trailer of Spider-Man jumping up, like about to fight Sandman, and you had Lizard and Electro.
And he got kicked by
Lizard's
nothing.
head. Yeah, his head looked like got hit by nothing. And I was like, dude, they CGI'd somebody out.
Yeah.
Why else would that happen?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's when I was like, dude, it's happening.
Yeah.
But imagine if that got ruined for us by like set photos.
Well,
Sucks.
so it actually kind of did because
Really?
John Campea released a leaked. He's like a podcaster or whatever.
Oh, okay.
He talks about kind of similar to what we're doing actually right now. But he'll cover news and set like leaks. He apparently got like access to a leaked photo, and it was just them three standing there talking to Doctor Strange, and it was leaked, and everyone saw it, and everyone was like, "What the fuck?" Because up until then, it was just like, "Hey, look, this could or couldn't be true." This was the first one that was like, it was them. Like,
wow.
No stop, no nothing, no edit.
No
it was just
home.
them. Yes, yeah, exactly. Look at that. That's wild.
I'm glad that I didn't see that.
Well, unfortunately, I did because I was, but I didn't really care because like I knew I was gonna see it anyways, and I was just so like wrapped up in it that I didn't give a shit. But after that movie, I was like, fuck, I need to not do this ever again.
Yeah, I have a friend that like he won't watch any trailers for anything, and I'm almost at that point.
I don't blame him because it's the same thing. Or they'll put shit in the trailer, or it'll be leaked in a set photo or something. So
yeah,
you just have to completely disconnect now.
But Netflix Daredevil, great show.
Great show. Street level MCU is, I think, going to be the saving grace of the MCU if they do it right.
Hopefully,
going forward, because I think they're doing Devil's Reign with Kingpin as mayor. And,
yeah, I've seen some theories that Stark Tower was shown to they were evacuating that all the way back in Far From Home in 2019. It's 5 years later, and we still don't know what's going on.
We have no idea. It could be Kang. It could be Kingpin. It could be absolutely nothing. We don't fucking know.
I feel like it's going to be Kingpin because of like he's going to be mayor, and I feel like he would want a tower like that, but I just don't know.
I don't either, because like I think he's the only one that makes sense, because people thought the Fantastic Four with like the Baxter Building, but now that that's like set probably in an alternate universe, now that we have that movie,
I feel like
seeing what it's like and whatnot.
I mean, because of the promo art, like of the city in the background, it seems like it's going to be like a retro, like what people in the 1960s thought the future was going to be.
Yeah.
And it seems really interesting. I don't really know how it's going to connect. And honestly, I don't know if I care if it connects to the MCU.
I don't. Honestly, at this point, I don't give a shit. I just want them to make good stuff now.
I just want it to be a good movie. I don't. My standards are so low now because of all the
shit.
Yeah. And it just seems like they don't care, and they're just right. Oh, it's a superhero, so it'll get.
So funny enough, like with the original Daredevil direction for Born Again, it was going like, hey, this is not canon to the show. We're gonna kill off Foggy and Karen in like the first 2 episodes, and it's all gonna be completely different. But it's gonna have the same 2 actors that we know as the characters, but it's completely different. Yeah. And so then they shut all that down because the backlash was so bad.
And also because of
rebooted it.
The writer's strike.
Yeah,
and weren't able to do anything.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, so that was probably writer's strike. Actually, probably did more. I think that did a lot of good.
Oh, I'm really excited for like next year.
I say that as if that's like them asking for better wages is like a good thing actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But a lot of people tend to be like, oh well, it stopped all our favorite movies from coming out, but I think it just delayed those so they could get better.
Yeah. Like Daredevil doing reshoots, Captain America: Brave New World is doing reshoots.
I'm mixed on what that movie will probably end up being like, but yeah.
My only gripe is I'm not a big Harrison Ford guy.
You aren't?
No,
damn, dude.
I don't like him that much.
Well, so I've been watching a lot of podcasts. Well, I say podcasts. Interviews with him and whatnot, especially on like the Conan show, and like he is extremely. I know he'll have the thing where he's like, oh, I don't give a fuck about like I don't know what a Force Ghost is. I don't give a fuck, or that was like something he said or something like that.
Yeah.
And then the fan thing of him like breaking the Millennium Falcon. Usually, a lot of that on shows when he'll do stuff like that is scripted.
Yeah, I mean that was like a guy that worked at Conan's office.
Yeah, he even said like he didn't even build the damn thing. So like,
yeah, I don't know. I feel like a part of it is just his attitude. Like for me, I can't just watch, or I can't just like an actor. I have to.
Yeah.
Like
no, I know what you mean.
Performance. I also like if they're.
You have to know
rude,
the person. But
yeah, like Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Turns out he's a real shitty dad. I mean, I was never a big Brad Pitt fan, but
maybe a little more than that. But yeah, potentially abusive. But we're not going to talk about that.
It seems like he's at an age where he just doesn't care anymore about his projects. He's just there to get a paycheck, and it's kind of like.
I think I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt because he is 80, and like if I were 80 and I'm still acting, it's like okay, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, so Daredevil, and then my next one is I don't know if you've heard of it, Band of Brothers.
Oh, I've heard of it.
Produced by Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks.
Cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Is this like after Saving Private Ryan?
I'm mostly certain, yes. I'm pretty sure. So this show basically just covers, I think it's the 101st Airborne, I'm pretty sure. Well, I watched this with some of my best friends. We'll watch it like whenever we get together and we go to somebody's house. We'll be like, hey, you want to put on an episode of Band of Brothers? It's like, sure, we'll watch that. And I think what I love about this is like it's nothing like I've ever seen from like a war show, movie, or whatever. The production level, the acting, the talent, the stories that they tell. There's not one clear protagonist. It's multiple different people. You get so many different people's like outlooks and different stories. And just going through like the shit that they went through of like you'll have somebody on your crew that's like a main character of the show and he'll just be dead. And there's nothing like he'll die in the most unceremonious like way possible. Like a dude will throw a grenade in a doorway, and then somebody will run in, not knowing that he threw the grenade, and get killed by the fucking grenade.
Yeah.
And it's one of those like you'd think it would suck because it's a show, and you don't like unceremonious deaths. But I think it kind of because the show is so grounded,
it adds to it.
It adds to like this is what people actually experience in World War II.
This is war.
Yeah, this like 1 minute you'll be having a brewski with the boys, and then they'll all be in gravestones, and you'll be the only one alive.
Yeah,
like it could literally go like that, and yeah. This is I don't know. It's a really cool show to like watch and just immerse yourself in. Also, I like World War II. Like I'm a really big history buff, especially that era. I just really I find really interesting.
Like from 1940 to 60, or
well, just World War II in general, but yeah, that era as well, like the 60s, the swinging 60s and the 50s and whatnot.
Yeah, I remember seeing like I think my dad had like a metal box set of Band of Brothers.
You had it. We still have it downstairs. My dad got it. My mom got it for him as a present. We still have it.
Cool.
That and The Pacific is another show. I haven't seen it.
I've never heard of that.
It's like a similar styled show. I've heard it's not as good, but I might watch that as well because it takes place in the probably late 40s in the Pacific Islands, obviously when they were. So yeah, it's just I don't know. It's a cool show. I just think it's really well made. And then the third one is an animated show. I probably could have made this all animated kid shows, like superhero shit and whatnot, but I decided not to. But this last one, I decided I'm gonna put Spectacular Spider-Man on here. Yes, the best version of Spider-Man, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Have you seen this show?
I have. Gone too soon.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Oh, dude, like if they can't even, it's not even a show they could do again. I don't think because it like the continuity was so airtight in the show. They had like an entire board of like, okay, this episode ties to this ties to this, like all for different characters too. This is their motivation. This is what we want their arc to be.
I love when shows, movies, whatever, when they have like a Bible that they're like, no,
exactly,
it has to be like this. We cannot.
Like, they need to do that more so with probably superhero shows. I think, because there's a lot more to cover than just character shit and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't think Friends really needed a Bible.
Yeah, no, for sure not. But it probably has one out there somewhere.
But yeah, I mean, that's in that era of, I think, just really great shows. Like,
Yes.
also Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
It takes place in that universe, apparently. It's like Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Wolverine and the X-Men, Spectacular Spider-Man. It's all one universe.
Fantastic Four, the world's greatest heroes.
Yeah, is that in that universe?
I don't know for sure. I just know it came out around.
It was probably
the same time. They had
Okay.
She-Hulk in it. That was really cool.
Yeah, they did.
It was honestly. I hope they do this for the Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah.
They just took blue paint and just painted the number 4 on the thing, like on his chest.
Well, honestly,
And
that could be. Those photos do have him in the jacket too, though, and I kind of like the jacket. I like him with the I have a couple of those same styled Letterman jackets, sort of.
Yeah.
But
as long as he's wearing clothes, like the 2015 Fant Four Stick movie,
completely naked with nothing. Like,
yeah.
Some people think him just wearing shorts is a bit too far, and
Really?
people exist. So yeah.
I mean, I know in the 80s when he had his own solo title, he had like a tank top, like a black tank top on.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't think he had it. Well, actually, I think when he had his solo, I think he actually left the Fantastic Four and She-Hulk took his spot.
That sounds right.
I think he had his run lasted like maybe 2 or 3 years, and then he came back, and then they were the Fantastic Five for like maybe 3 issues, and then She-Hulk left.
Didn't they like remake Fantastic Four with Wolverine, Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, and then
Hulk?
Yeah.
I don't remember what the occasion was.
I don't either, but that's that's an interesting concept.
Yeah, I do kind of like that. Whenever it's like a team like that, like or X-Men or the Fantastic Four or the Justice League, where like they go missing and you have to make a new team,
a completely new team, yeah.
And it's like, oh well, we got to have the Batman, we got to have the Superman, or with
our versions of those.
Yeah, it was like Hulk was the thing, Spider-Man was the Mr. Fantastic, the smart one. Wolverine was Human Torch, the hothead, and then Ghost Rider. Well, that's funny, Ghost Rider. But
you got two hotheads there. Yeah,
I think Ghost Rider was probably the Invisible Woman, just the support, basically.
Or like the power that can probably do a lot of cool shit or something. Yeah.
Yeah, like his Hellfire and the Pin and Stare, all that.
And his bike.
Yeah, and his bike.
He undoes the flame and it's just Nicolas Cage. That would be, dude. It would be so
man,
funny,
because I'm reading the 80s in Marvel and Ghost Rider. I'm starting to realize the Nick Cage movies are like, they call him Johnny Blaze, but they're really just making him Danny Ketch. Like the leather bike with the spikes on it was Danny. The bike that he uses in that film looks more like Danny's bike, and he was in the 90s.
Yeah,
and it kind of is annoying because it just reminds me of like the Flash in the DCEU, where they call him Barry, but it's like he has all of Wally's attributes in the second Flash.
It's because back in that era they would do that thing where it's like, okay, well, we have to read these dumb nerd comics, so just pull from whatever, and then just like, okay, the main version when we pull it up on Wikipedia is Johnny Blaze, so okay, just call him that, and then we'll pull from some of these other sources. They probably didn't give a fuck about
Bryan Singer, the literal child predator, had his rule for the X-Men movies. A comic book was not allowed on his set or he would rip it up.
And somehow those, at least in my opinion, turned out better than some of the ones that didn't have Bryan Singer on. Some of them.
Yeah, well,
I think the Matthew Vaughn one is like
The Last Stand, or
no, this is first class. He was gonna do Last Stand, and then that's a whole story within itself.
Yeah. Oh, I know Simon Kinberg wrote it. I don't remember who
he wrote
directed
Dark Phoenix too, though.
He did a lot of shit. Yeah, Simon Kinberg wrote The Last Stand, which has the Phoenix in it.
And then he redid The Last Stand.
And then they didn't just have him write it, they also had him direct it too. So he failed twice with the same movie.
I don't fucking know why
I swear to God, if the
Fox
X-Men,
is the stupidest studio.
if the X-Men come to the MCU and they're like, we've announced the writer-director for
Simon
X-Men,
Kinberg.
Simon Kinberg.
And Bryan Singer's going to direct it.
Oh, my God.
We're bringing him back, boys and girls. He's changed. Look at that.
Yeah.
I say that specifically to the boys and girls so that you have nothing to fear.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, at least Hugh Jackman, good for him. He had people sneak him comic books.
He had Kevin Feige there who was like, hey, man, you might want to read this issue.
Yeah, because he actually cared. He was like, I'm being this character. I want to be the character.
People give Feige a lot of shit, but, like, Feige, you got to remember that he did so much good at the end of the day. Like, I think overall for the Avengers, even though there's, like, things they had to cut corners on, like the Hulk and all that shit, where it's just like, oh, my God, that Hulk sucks, you know?
Let's not even get started on the MCU Hulk.
Yeah, but, like, at the end of the day, I think they accomplished something that no one else did, and we do need to give them credit, like Kevin Feige especially, credit for that.
I mean, got the ball rolling.
Yeah, he got the ball rolling. I mean, he made them household fucking names, so.
I mean, I would still, I feel like the Blade trilogy.
Yeah.
The Blade trilogy opened the door, but the X-Men trilogy walked through it.
And then the Spider-Man movies, like, soared and showed you, like, hey, you can actually make a good one, though. Like, that's legitimately faithful in a lot of ways, so. All right, moving on to comics now.
Okay, so my top 3 comic book runs are Justice League of America Volume 2 from 2006.
Cool.
Teen Titans Volume 3 from 2003. And Astonishing X-Men Volume 3 from 2004.
Okay, cool.
So the Justice League of America is right after a big, not nationwide, but the whole line of DC Comics were a part of this event. And right after it was something called 1 year later, where they just kind of went, like, from one issue to the next. It was like, oh, a whole year happened between issues.
Okay.
And I didn't really love it that much.
It's odd.
Yeah, but at least, like, with the JLA, they ended their first book, and then they made this new book, and that was after the time skip. So it's not like you're going from issue to issue being like, what the hell?
Yeah, like Endgame, where 5 years have passed.
Yeah. Oh, man. I did not like that.
You didn't like that?
I didn't like the 5. I wish it was like maybe 3 or 4, but 5 years later, I mean, you have a whole life now. I mean, he had a daughter.
It's annoying to me that they don't do anything in that era. Like, you could have so much shit to explore there, and they don't explore, like, what the fuck was this character doing for 5 years?
Yeah.
We just skip past it, like, and they don't address it.
Yeah, just 5 years was way too long.
It is, yeah. It could have been a year. That would have been better.
But yeah, the Justice League of America, I feel like it revitalized the JLA, like, as a team. Because before that, in like 03, 04, they were riding the highs off the Justice League Unlimited cartoon, and they even they replaced Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern, with the Jon Stewart version because of the show.
Okay.
But then they also had like Plastic Man, and just it was a little much. I don't know. I tried reading it, and I don't really love it that much.
Yeah.
Also, this is back when Aquaman didn't have his hand. He had a water hand, and it was just a lot of...
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But, like, with Justice League of America 2006, like, they revamp the whole team. They bring back the original Green Lantern, Hal Jordan. They add in, like, Black Lightning and Vixen. Black Canary actually becomes the team leader.
Yeah.
It's so refreshing, and they get, I think, my most favorite additions, like the second Firestorm, Jason Rush from the Arrowverse shows, and like Red Tornado apart. I love it. And I love the art too. Ed Baines, or Ed Baines, or I don't remember how to pronounce it, but like he does all the art and is great. Michael Turner does some covers, and he's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think that's a really great run. The next one, Teen Titans. This is also capitalizing off of the animated show Teen Titans, because before this they were called Young Justice.
Yeah.
And then the show came out, and they were like, okay, we need to have a Teen Titans book. And
Yeah, because this is popular now, so we need to synergize it.
yeah, the synergy.
Yeah.
Oh man, we can make a whole episode.
Oh
about
yeah,
that.
yeah. That's our favorite word here on this podcast is synergy.
But yeah, I really like this Teen Titans run because it combines the first gen of Titans with the second gen. Like it has Starfire, Cyborg, Raven, Beast Boy, but then it also has Superboy, the new Robin, the new Wonder Girl, the new Kid Flash, the new Speedy, and it's just like
all of them.
Like they're all Titans, but it's like the older ones that are with Nightwing and his group are just like mentoring them.
Yeah.
It's just it's really fun, and I liked it a lot. And then the third one, Astonishing X-Men, is right after.
This is one I have on my list.
Really, to read?
Yeah.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Good.
Good. The only criticism I have, which also is a little bit of a positive, is that it does not participate in any events like at all.
Oh, interesting.
It is so self-contained. Like there's no House of M crossover, there's no Civil War crossover or World War Hulk or Secret Invasion. It is just this story.
Did it like do not well then?
Oh, it did great.
It did? Okay.
I mean, this was the main. There were 3 X-Men titles at this time. This was the main one from 04 to 08.
I feel like it could be viewed as a good thing because some of the changes that Civil War eventually made with like obviously with Spider-Man.
One More Day.
And then killing off Captain America, which I don't know how long they did it for, but
he died.
Can see that like probably.
He died in 07, and then he was brought back in like 09 or 2010. But he didn't become Captain America again until 2011. Because when he died,
he got like his soul sent back in time or some weird shit like that.
I don't even know because I don't read. I'm not a big Captain America fan, so all the Captain America stuff I absorb is through Avengers titles or whenever he shows up in like a.
He does seem kind of like not unfollowable, but like I've heard he's one of those characters that like in crossovers he'll just for some reason be on the government side, even though for like in X-Men 97.
Yeah.
He'll just take the government side, even though like Captain America is very fuck those guys.
Yeah, the misconception is that Captain America.
I forget the word. Sorry, you keep going.
Captain America doesn't represent what America is. It represents what it can be, what it should be.
Yeah.
And so that's why a lot of times he's actually in opposition to the American government.
It's the same with Superman. I feel with like the John Byrne era where he's interacting with Reagan and all American, but
I don't like the Byrne era of Superman.
Yeah.
The one thing though I do like that Byrne did was he established that Clark Kent is the real person and Superman is the like hidden identity to kind of rival Batman's.
I think the hard part with that is he tried to completely take out the alien side of things, and I don't like when one leans on one or the other too hard. When you just make him like he's just a normal guy, fuck all the alien shit. It's like, okay, then you're taking away the immigrant story, which is like the whole fucking point. But if you're doing just the alien shit, it can become like, okay, well, he's also like a person too. Like he just does regular shit as well, and it'll be larger than life. And you need to find a good balance.
I feel like New 52, at the very least, early on, had that problem of New 52 Superman kind of leaned into being too alien.
Yeah.
It didn't work because it's like, okay, so now it's this guy that doesn't like humans and he's all powerful, and it's just like it doesn't really sit well.
No, because he is both, and when you lean on one or the other, it's just one is too alienating, I feel, and then people will come up with the like, oh well, he doesn't give a fuck about his humanity, or he's not even a human, so who cares? Yeah. It's such a weird way to view shit. You just sound like a mute, like one of the guys in X-Men comic that'll be like, "You're not a human, fuck you."
Oh yeah, I don't like you're a mutant, not a human.
That makes no fucking sense. I don't like.
Anyways, so which comics did you pick?
Ooh, okay, so I watch more movies, I feel, than Ashton, but Ashton definitely reads more comics than me. So I have.
Well, I had a head start.
Yeah. Okay. He had a head start too, but I feel so my comics might be a little like basic. like
Okay.
baby's first comics kind of shit.
Oh.
So,
okay.
my first pick is Spider-Man: The Death of Jean DeWolf, and I wanted to change this because there's so many Spider-Man comics I love. I specifically, run-wise, love the Ditko run, and
all the way back in the 60s.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it is a little, it's very dated and whatnot, but like I think they get that character perfectly. Obviously,
Yeah.
it was like when it was made.
I mean, it was their creation.
Yeah, yeah.
They
So
didn't handle
he feels the most like how I view the character. That and the Romita Senior run, but I just have happened to read more the Ditko run.
Romita Senior, is that the 70s?
Yes, that was
Okay,
when you
that's
had
what I thought.
that was like kind of the start of the Clone Saga, sort of, with
It
like
was
Clone
the introduction.
Glenn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Romita Senior run was great, but I just picked the Death of Jean DeWolf because like I love seedy, like Sin City esque ground, like street level stuff in the comics. It's like my favorite, like the gritty, like street level, the trash that you have to pick up that no one else has to deal with, kind of shit.
It's kind of like 2000s Daredevil, the Marvel Knights
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
If you like that, you should check out the Marvel Knights imprint. Where it's kind of like DC's Black Label.
Yeah.
Where it's like it takes place in the same universe, but it's a different. It's like a sub department in their publication offices, so they're able to do darker stuff. And in the late 90s to maybe mid 2000s, I think is when they started to fizzle out. But yeah, they did Daredevil, Spider-Man, Marvel Knights, Fantastic Four, Luke Cage. So
interesting. I tend to like that sort of shit. So that's why I picked this story, because it's a team up with Spider-Man and Daredevil, where Jean DeWolf, I don't remember because it's been a while since I read it, but I can't remember if she was killed in this comic or earlier, and then they just touch on it again. But it's the guy who kills Jean DeWolf. I think it is because it's called The Death of Jean DeWolf. So Jean DeWolf dies in it. She is killed by what's his name? Sin Eater. He's got the double barrel shotgun. He's got like a green ninja mask and a purple shirt.
I do not know.
Really niche villain, extremely niche, but a solid one, because he just like it's one of those unceremonious deaths where he just kills her in her apartment. It's like a major character, and they just kill her. And it would be like one of those, like, what the fuck? Why'd you do that? But I think here, again, it works because the comic is grounded.
And what year did that come out?
I think I want to say it was the 80s because of the art. Mm-hmm. It feels very, I know it wasn't illustrated by Todd McFarlane, but it feels like that kind of era.
Todd McFarlane is one of my favorite Spider-Man artists. Yeah. Him and Romita Sr.
Yes. Yeah.
Romita Jr.
You don't like
at all.
I really like Romita Jr. He has, like, you know, the comic frame of him with he's like kneeled over in the lightning. That's like really good. There's some really good, like, he does a lot of good art, but yeah, I can see how you wouldn't like
when he's good, he's really good. But then also, even when he's mid, just to me,
it's not your jam.
I only like his art when it's good or better. If it falls below good, I'm like, I'm all right.
I don't like it. Yeah. Okay. It's not your jam. I get it.
But I will say, I'm more appreciative of his art from maybe the 2000s. His current art,
I think that's probably what's might be clouding your judgment stuff, is the current shit, because like I know the inking is so shit.
The coloring, the
coloring is like A
lot of people don't realize, like, it's not just a writer and an artist. There's the penciler, the inker.
There's a lot of
and
it's kind of like with a movie when people are like, oh, the VFX are shit, and it's like, but here's why they're shit. It's not because the VFX artists suck. It's because they're not given a clear direction on how things look.
Or it's like, hey, you have until next week to do it. And it's like, oh, this will take like 3 weeks.
Longer than that. Yeah, like, what the fuck?
So they don't have enough time to finish the VFX. But so I do give him that benefit. I know that a lot of this stuff is like the colorist or the inker probably messed with it. But just the way that he draws faces really irks
Yeah, I can definitely. He's not. I like Spider-Man in costume in the way he looks there, but like all the faces look very similar.
They all look dumb. Not that they look bad, but the people themselves look like they are dumb. Like their
okay, I see.
that he gives them, like
they're all like what, like like stone.
They all look
kind
derpy.
Of face. Yeah. Okay, I see that because I feel the same way, sort of, but
like because he accentuates like their eyebrow, like their eyes and their mouths, and that it just makes them.
I will say though, I think the reason I like his art so much is because he has one of my favorite Spider-Man runs that it's attached to.
The 98.
I love the Michael Straczynski run. I know it's overshadowed by Sins Past and One More Day because of the editorial and how fucked up all that was, but like genuinely it has some of my favorite like Spider-Man panels or Spider-Man moments. It's where he becomes a teacher. I know not everyone likes Morlun, but I love the way Morlun is used there.
I think he's cool. I mean,
some people find him really boring, and I get why, because he's like a C-list. Like, who cares?
Him and Morbius are kind of similar, but I feel like Morlun is just more interesting because it's not just like, oh, I'm a vampire that eats people. It's like I consume like souls and I'm going around the multiverse.
And he's like, the comic I read, he's like an unstoppable fucking force, and he never. I think that's why I like that character there, is because Spider-Man never gets a break in that comic. He's running around, he'll get fucked up by the guy, he can't take him head on.
And that's whenever he actually. I've seen the panels where he's like, dear God, please, like I need a break.
That shit, yeah.
And then he says like, just kidding, it's okay.
Yeah, and I think that's why I like the run so often, because you get so many moments, like little character moments like that, where he'll be walking on a rooftop and he asks for some dude's popcorn. Give him some popcorn because the dude's chilling on the roof.
I especially love that moment where he's praying, because like whenever he's like, he prays, please let me have less shit to deal with, and then just kidding, it's okay, because he knows if he doesn't bear that responsibility, someone else will. Not no one else will, someone else will.
Okay.
And he's like, no, like I'm not going to put this on somebody else.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to, hold the world on my back so that nobody else has to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who he is. That's why I love Miles Morales. If anything, he's my preferred Spider-Man.
I can see that, yeah.
But I prefer Miles in a universe where Peter either doesn't exist or he's already dead, like in the original Ultimate run.
Yeah.
Because like
he'll tend to feel like he'll give that sidekick energy, sort of.
Sidekick energy, and I just don't like when people are like, oh yeah, it's fine, like anyone can wear the mask, and it's like, yeah, but like when Peter's still around, he's the only one,
Yeah, because like I said, the sidekick energy of where he'll overshadow him. So it's like, yeah, you can wear the mask, but like, got nothing against the OG kind of shit.
Well, no, I think here's my main problem. I don't like there being two Spider-Man at the same time. It's like with two Flashes, like Barry and Wally. It's like, just pick one, Yeah. I don't. Like I prefer Wally, but at least if during the New 52, Wally was gone and it was just Barry as the Flash, and I don't love that because I miss him, but at least it's less not confusing because it's not that difficult to have two characters have the same name. But I just love when there's just one person to a mantle at a time.
No, I think the hard part too is like when you have the two characters with the same name, you have to have one, and you're like, okay, but you can't change the name, because then people who are like, oh, Miles isn't Spider-Man, they'll get justified.
Oh, I hate when people say that Miles isn't Spider-Man. Miles is absolutely Spider-Man.
I think he represents what that character means potentially more than the original.
Yeah.
He is like I say, he is the potential too.
And that's why I prefer him after Peter has been Spider-Man and then dies in battle. And then, Miles is the potential of like he's the new up and comer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got two more comics real quick.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. I got the X-Men Chris Claremont run, which I'm currently reading. Easily the best X-Men run. I think it's hard to like. You can have your personal favorites, like astonishing as yours. I'm reading New X-Men. I'm really liking that.
Well, I haven't read that yet. It's on my list.
Okay.
So once I read it,
But
I'll have to let you know.
I think the reason why this one's on my list is I'm not done with it yet, but like the fact that so many stories, like so many core X-Men stories were done in a single run, it's like it's mystifying, honestly.
Yeah.
Like genuinely crazy. You got Dark Phoenix, you got Days of Future Past, you got God Loves, Men Kills. I think they're
Massacre, Inferno, like
you got so many that are just like core stories to the characters, and they were done by like a couple dudes who were doing the run at the time. And it's just, you don't often get that, because you'll have your runs that are like, oh, I like this era because Gwen Stacy dies in this era or whatever. But other than that, and like a few other things, nothing extremely major happens in that run. It's just down
in
to
the
like
Spider-Man run.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't want to say nothing major happens, because obviously major shit happens, but you'll have like, when people divide the eras, like this era was where this happened, this era was where this happened.
Yeah.
Like Todd McFarlane is kind of connected to like the symbiote, because they did that with Venom and Hobgoblin and
late 80s,
yeah,
the mid 90s, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say most of the runs that regular people who haven't read the comics would recognize will probably be a Chris Claremont comic.
Yeah. I mean, and not even just for X-Men, but like a lot of Spider-Man and Avengers and Iron Man major storylines happened in the 80s. The 80s were just like
perfect era for Marvel.
That's why I'm rereading it. Well, not rereading it. It's my first time, but
reading, like going back to it.
Going back to it, yeah. I'm reading the Avengers right now, and this is whenever Beast left the X-Men and he's an Avenger.
In the Avengers, they say that one time in a comic. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, and then when I'm done reading Avengers, I do plan on reading X-Men, because that's whenever Storm is the leader and Cyclops is like, he's left the team because he's married to Madeline Pryor.
At first, it isn't that way, but yeah, after the Dark Phoenix storyline where all that shit goes down, yes, that is what.
Well, isn't that like 78 or 79? When does Dark Phoenix happen? I know
I'm getting there because I'm at the Phoenix actually when she comes out of the water. That's what I'm at. Oh yeah. But yeah, it's like 5 or 10 issues after that or something like that. It's like around there, and then because everyone knows she fucking dies. Everyone knows that. Yeah. So it's not a spoiler. And then Scott leaves the team, and then Kitty comes after that as like a new member. And then that's where you get Days of Future Past. After
1981.
That. Yeah. Which predates Terminator.
Really?
Think about that.
Dude, see, Claremont was just ahead
He was
of time.
fucking... I don't know what he had. I wish every comic creator took that.
You know what he had? The audacity.
He did. He had... Yeah, and we do too. We're recording on it right now.
Oh, that is funny.
That is very funny.
Yeah, and then 86 is whenever Jean Grey got resurrected.
Okay,
so she was dead for like maybe 5 years.
And he also, Chris Claremont did the Wolverine run as well, solo run.
Started in 88.
The first 3 issues. I don't remember because there were the 3 issues. I actually have them.
Oh, cool.
I think it's 4 issues.
I know that there's like a 4-issue limited series.
I think by Chris Claremont.
Okay, so he did the limited series.
Yes, I don't think he did the main. I might be wrong, but I don't think he did the eventual comic series.
Yeah.
But and then my last one might piss you off.
Oh no.
Batman New 52, Scott Snyder.
No. Okay, actually that does not piss me off.
It doesn't? Okay, good.
I don't dislike the New 52 entirely. I dislike it as a concept.
Yes.
But Batman New 52, Batman, Flash, Teen Titans, and Justice League are the only New 52 titles that I kept up with because of how good they were.
Okay, good.
Yeah, Death of the Family. Is that?
Yes.
Yeah, where Joker pretends to cut off the whole Bat family's faces and has Batman eat it or something.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have Batman eat it, but yeah, there's another one I have I bought all the issues, and then Zero Year. It's the first time since year 1 where they redo the origin, and I think that origin's just really, if not, it's not obviously not better than year 1, because that comic is like, you can't top that. But it's really unique it's got a really cool
Doesn't he lose
identity.
a hand? I
I think Alfred does. Alfred loses the hand, but Batman, you can probably, after this, I'll show you the covers and whatnot, because we have the whole 0 Year omnibus that has like all the issues, but yeah, I love his costume in 0 Year. I think it looks so fucking cool.
It's like the T-shirt almost.
Sort of, but so they had the purple, like, not. I think they had the full purple gloves actually. Yeah.
Really? I didn't read 0 Year. I wasn't.
It's really good.
All right.
It's where they get the Batman. That's where like the inspiration for what happens at the end, I think, came from.
It's like, I need to become hope, not vengeance.
Well, just the flooding of the city and the Riddler being responsible for all that shit and that.
Well, maybe I do need to read it.
No. And then the No Man's Land, which is where I know No Man's Land came before.
That was the late 90s, I think.
Yeah. But I think for the New 52, it was like they rebuilt Gotham because it got all fucked up and something like that. So.
Did you read the entirety of all 52 issues?
I read up until Batman dies because I remember I watched a video that kind of
dies. Yeah.
Yeah, because I watched the video that sums up his resurrection, and I didn't really like. It's just James Gordon becoming Batman.
Oh, that was terrible.
And then it was, I feel like, so bad that they were like, okay, well, we actually need to bring Bruce Wayne back, and they did that, and it felt like the most half-ass like excuse for that shit happening. For how they brought him back, because he has none of his memories, and then they just give him back his memories, and then, okay, he's back, and then they reset it after that. So.
Oh yeah, with rebirth and everything.
So it's just like, I figured to not read it and just, okay, he died. We'll just leave that, I guess.
Yeah, I do think New 52 Joker might be my favorite version of comic Joker. Though.
I can see that, because that was another one of my favorite things. I hate when people just say they like Joker and it's just like this. It's like, I feel like most people don't understand the character.
They've just seen Suicide Squad or the Joaquin Phoenix movie.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, I know the character in and out now. But like, what makes the run so good is, or that version of the Joker so good, is like he feels completely unlike what he was in a lot of ways, like originally, because he was fucked up, but he didn't, like, this one he peels his face off and he just does a lot of
staples it back.
Yeah, he's a completely different beast in that run, and it's one of the more interesting differentiations of the character, I guess. So
well, that was all our top 3 movies, shows, and comic runs.
Yeah, that was all of our stuff. We've decided, after realizing that this podcast episode is an hour and verging on an hour and 30 minutes, we're actually going to divide the news segments and then this talk.
So next time we're going to be discussing the topics that we have picked out.
Yes. Precisely. So I appreciate you, if you're listening, for joining us. Can you tell us what platforms that we're on?
YouTube, Apple Podcasts, maybe Spotify, maybe.
Potentially. We'll see. Yeah. We're still figuring out how to edit it, and we'll let you know in the second episode for sure where you can put it, or where you'll be able to listen to it. So
thank you.
Yep. Bye. Bye-bye. Thank y'all.